Hello everyone and welcome to another game I played on Ptcgo. This time I'm playing another game with my Empleon Dusknoir deck. But this time around I'm not really trying to show the deck off all that much, but I am sort of just trying to show how the rule changes have affected the game, namely the sort of change that has occurred with what can be done on your first turn. Basically, you cannot attack, and what happened with catcher, namely that it's now on a coin flip. So if you flip heads, catcher works as normal. If tails, catcher does absolutely nothing. So I'm using Empleon Dusknoir because I think it's one of the decks that'll benefit from catcher getting nerfed a bit. So Empleon can evolve, and so can Duskull, but that remains to be seen if it'll help out enough to be super playable, but as of now it's still kind of a tier 3 deck. So as we can see, my opponent's starting off, he mulligans, we see a life dew and some hammers, so both hammers are now in play thanks to legendary treasures, which will be kind of annoying, I guess, to people who don't like playing with that. I personally am kind of a fan of hammer time, so I'm sorry to anyone who has played against me in that. So he's mulliganed twice, and he was favored to win. I'm still not really sure what type of deck he's running, but I'm going to start off with Landorus and keep Duskull on the bench. Being that catcher has been nerfed, I feel a little bit more comfortable benching weak Pokemon. I drew 2 cards off of his mulligan, and one of them was Execute, which I run to take advantage of Diving Draw, and my opponent reveals a Trubbish. So again, this could be a few different things, but he's going to play a Laser on my Landorus. That's not all that good, but he does nothing else. So here I'm going to play Escape Rope and play down an Emolga that I just got, and a Level Ball for a Piplup, because catcher is not really, I don't know, I don't think it'll be all that viable. I'm playing Escape Rope instead to serve the function of a catcher-esque sort of thing and a switch at the same time. So I'm going to send up Emolga with that Escape Rope and call for family to get 2 more Piplups on my bench, and hope that if it's the tool drop deck that I can start attacking quickly. I don't play that many tools, but it'll be helpful. He plays like Crushing Hammers, but gets a Tails, and tries to go for catcher, but also gets a Tails. So that's sort of the annoying part of relying on cards that are now on coin flip, and catcher is now joining that club of cards that have limited playability. I'm going to chorus here for 6. I get I get a blend energy. I'm going to attach it to Landorus. Hypnotoxic Laser, the active Trubbish. Switch into Landorus and Hammerhead, the active, and the bench for 30. So as of now, I'm sort of leaning towards a tool drop deck, although he's running a lot of hammers for whatever reason. He's going to catcher up Duskull. This time he's successful, and he's going to switch into his bench Trubbish and attach a Dark Energy. So Dark, this is probably a Darkrai Garbodor variant of some sort. I'm going to N. I did attach a Floatstone. I do play a few of those on this deck, just to help with retreating. And I'm going to go back into Emolga. I don't really plan on doing anything with it, since Call for Family won't do anything. I just want to force him to try to catcher up something else again, since he seems pretty determined to go for Duskull. He's going to Tool Scrapper away my Floatstone, and then catcher, or fail a catcher, and then go for a Juniper. He's going to attach a Floatstone onto his Trubbish, and then Ultra Ball for a Garbodor. So as of this point, abilities are off, and a Darkrai has hit his side of the field. So this is definitely a Darkrai Garbodor, some sort of variant. Definitely not my favorite matchup, since I do have a lot of abilities, but I do have at least 1 Tool Scrapper in this version of the deck. I get another Blend Energy, and I can attack here, but I'm going to play Escape Rope, since I want to attack something else on his bench. I don't want to attack into Sableye. And he sends up Garbodor, so I'm happier attacking that. And I send up Landorus, although I could have just retreated, but again, I wanted to not attack Sableye. I'm going to take the 30 off on Garbodor and hit his Darkrai for 30 on the bench. He's going to play a Crushing Hammer. This time he gets a Heads and he discards my Blend Energy. He goes for the Catcher but gets a Tails, and he's going to play an N. Goes for another Catcher, this time gets a Heads, and another Crushing Hammer, discards a Water Energy I played off of on Piplup, and Duskull is once again back in the active spot, so he really wants to get rid of that thing. I don't blame him, but it's costing him quite a bit of resources in turns, as he's continuously junk hunting for hammers and lasers and catchers. So I play a Fighting Energy on Landorus. I'm going to switch into Landorus. I'm thinking about playing Juniper here, but I decide against it. I do think I may want that Float Stone since he's definitely going to try to catch her up again. And I just Hammerhead the active and then the benched Garbodor and finally knock that guy out. He once again is going to catch her up a Duskull, so it's getting kind of grating at this point. And he will Skyla for an N and play a Hypnotoxic Laser. And I fall asleep, and he plays a Life Dew. So I may have the prize lead, but he certainly has me in kind of a bind here as he gets back 2 Crushing Hammers again. So this is sort of like an ability lock / hammer time variant. I finally get a Empleon into play, and I'm going to Diving Draw away that Execute. That's the main reason to play this guy, because you can abuse his power. And I don't get anything all that useful, but I will play a Water Energy on my Empleon, and then just end. So he has been junk hunting, and I will try to disrupt him as often as I can by playing these ends. And I will end my turns. Can't really do anything since I remained asleep. But I do wake up in between turns, and my opponent once again has a Garbodor on his side of the field, and he plays an N of his own. He ends me into a fairly decent hand since I did get that N and a few escape ropes, since I probably don't want to attack into something with a Life Dew. My opponent is going to play a Float Stone, it looks like. Oh no, he gets back a Float Stone actually, and a Catcher. So he definitely wants to get Ability Lock back into play. I get a Water Energy on my bench Piplup. I'm going to once again Diving Draw that Execute, just get it back from the discard with Propagation. Don't get anything super useful, but I will play that Level Ball to get a Prinplup, so I get that guy ready to evolve, since that hasn't been going all that quickly this time around. I'm going to play my Escape Rope so I can get Duskull out of the active spot, and hopefully have him send something I can knock out. And he sends up a Sableye, so I'm going to send up Landorus. I could have sent up Prinplup, but I don't want to just yet. Here, I'm debating whether or not to end, and just decide to go for it. And I'm going to just go for Hammerhead, I think. I'm checking to see if he has any tools attached. I kind of forgot that he hasn't yet, so I'm not going to play that Scrapper. Now Hammerhead is active for 30, and hit the Garbodor on the bench for 30. So once again, we see another Crushing Hammer. He gets a Heads, so he's going to take that Fighting Energy off my active. He plays a second, but it fails. He plays a Catcher, and it succeeds. And he's going to Random Receiver. He gets a Getsus. He plays that, greatly reducing my hand size to everything except N. And he, once again, is back to his Sableye with Life Dew. And he's going to Junk Hunt for a Random Receiver and a Crushing Hammer. I will play my N, hopefully disrupting what he just got. And get my Float Stone. I will retreat my Duskull. Go into Prinplup this time. Or, sorry, Empleon. There's a difference between these birds, sorry. And here I'm just going to attack command. My abilities are off, I can't Diving Draw. But I will hopefully slow him down by just getting rid of this guy with the Life Dew, not take a prize. He plays a Hammer, but this time gets a Tails. Plays an N. And a Veerbank City Gym with a Laser. So, again, he's not really dealing much in the way of active damage. He's relying on Energy Denial and just poison damage. He's going to Junk Hunt for Life 2 and Catcher. I'm going to play a Blend Energy on my Landorus. Here, I can attack him and keep my active Empleon, or I can Escape Rope. So that's my other option. I'm debating whether or not to do it. Don't know if it's the best move here. Because I don't know what he'll send up. So I'm just going to attack Command the active for 100, knock out Sableye, and finally take my second prize. So there's been a long gap in prizes here. My opponent promotes a Sableye, attaches a Life Dew, fails a Catcher, and then plays an N here. So if I get a fairly decent hand off of this, because I do have a Tool Scrapper, and it's going to be fairly important. He Junk Hunts again for a Hammer and a Catcher, and I'm going to Scrapper away his Life Dew and the Floatstone on his Garbodor. So abilities are back into play, thankfully. And here I think I'm going to propagate my Execute and Diving Draw it away. Hopefully I can get into Dusknoir, but I don't get that rare candy. I do have Dusknoir, in hand. I'm just going to Chorus to see if I can get it that way. I get the rare candy, but not the Dusknoir. I do have that Ultra Ball though, but don't know if I want to play it here. Don't know if I need it actually. So I'm going to Diving Draw it, try to get it that way instead, I think. Don't get it. I think I just failed to see the Ultra Ball play here and didn't make it. Instead I'm going for an Escape Rope. He sends up Darkrai. I'm going to send up Empleon, the fresh one on the bench, so I can hit with Attack Command. That'll be able to do 90, leaving him fairly close to the knockout. But yeah, I can get Dusknoir next turn. He catchers up, or he tries to catcher. He random receivers, Dark Patches, but random receiver reveals he has no more supporter in his deck and only 7 cards left. So he's running low on cards and running low on options, while I have a slightly bigger deck and still quite a few energies on board. So as you can see, my opponent concedes here, and hopefully that shows you how Catcher has become very much unreliable.